Here in Bowman Field, Clemson University, they are taking on Florida State tomorrow. We have had such a fantastic time out here. Beautiful day. Thanks to Dabo Sweeney, Taj Boyd for being here with us. Thanks to our whole First Take crew for making this possible. And of course, thanks to all you guys for coming out. This was so much fun. Really having a great Friday. Hey guys, we got a lot of good NFL games though. We're talking a lot of college.
Yes, we do.
So let's pick them. I want to start with the Panthers. They are across the pond in London, facing the Bucs. Carolina, a couple-point favorite. Stephen A., what do you think is going to be the story of this game?
I got to tell you something. I'm going to say Jameis Winston. I wanted to say Kyle Allen. I really did. But the way Jameis Winston has been looking, the way the Panthers have been looking as of late, they're starting to come on. They're elevating their level of confidence. It's going to be real interesting to see if a familiar opponent within the division can derail somebody who's been the worst quarterback in the division for the last several years but doesn't look that way any longer. I'm interested in seeing what Jameis Winston does in this particular game.
I think McCaffrey's obviously been the key to their success, to the Panthers' success this season. And the Bucs are good against the run, and were good against McCaffrey the first time they saw him. But McCaffrey's one of those players, you know, I call it, he's mini Saquon, you know?
Yeah.
There's really no way to stop him because you can use him in the passing game. I expect McCaffrey to catch some big passes in this game, and maybe that's the difference.
All right, another big one that I'm certainly going to be watching with the Hawkeyes. Speaking of the Hawks, Baker in the Browns facing Seattle. Max, what do you think is going to be the narrative when we walk away here?
Well, the real question for the Browns is, and even the players are saying it, like Jarvis Landry came out and said, can you get Odell into the offense? Because Baker's not throwing the ball because Odell is bracketed. There are always two guys on Odell. Okay, Baker, then someone else has to be open. If he's not making offensive plays with someone else, then you got to figure out how to get Odell involved. I expect them to force feed Odell a little bit in this one. Maybe that leads to a turnover or two that wouldn't be there from Baker, but I think it'll also lead to some big plays by Odell.
The story of this game to me is going to end up being Freddie Kitchens, because whether it's Odell Beckham Jr. or Baker Mayfield, it comes down to him. This is a man that went from a positional coach to the offensive coordinator to the head coach of an NFL franchise inside of 1 year. That simply doesn't happen. And at some point in time, somebody's going to start asking the question, did you ever deserve this damn job? And you're going to have to show them that you did. It's very rare that you have a guy, a head coach, particularly with this offensive talent on one side of the ball, in Landry, in Odell Beckham Jr., in Chubb, with Kareem Hunt coming, with Njoku coming back. It's very rare that you have a coach with that amount of offensive talent and you can't figure out a way to do anything with it. Freddie Kitchens, if he doesn't get this ship steered in the right direction and he doesn't get his act together, meaning Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr.'s act together, he might be a one-year wonder, and it'll go from being a positional to an offensive coordinator to a head coach to being unemployed.
Stephen A., Teddy and the Saints not far from here. They'll be facing Jacksonville. What do you think is going to be the story here?
Wow. Ramsey. Listen, I don't know if he'll come back and play, if he'll be there to play Sunday, but it's going to be real interesting to keep your eyes on Jacksonville. I'd say him if he does play. If he doesn't play, I think Minshew, obviously with the mustache, the hairdo, the rage, and everybody got caught up in that sauce until they got humbled last week. The reality is that now that the light has dimmed just a touch on him, let's see how he responds and if he's able to show up against these New Orleans Saints on their home turf in Jacksonville. Let's see what he does.
You know who hasn't been stopped this year so far? No, that's right. Brady hasn't been stopped yet. It's true.
I love a good troll.
It's true. He's played one team this season so far. But you know who has played more than one team and still hasn't been stopped? Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater's been really good, and people have to remember.
You called this. Branding, you really did, because I didn't think he'd be able to hold it down without Drew.
Branding in the NFL is so important in the fans' minds. You know, if a guy gets tarnished a little bit, like he loses his starting job, people forget about him. I keep bringing it up. Kurt Warner lost his job to injury in St. Louis, right? Then went to the Giants, then left because they had Eli, and went to a Super Bowl with Arizona. The question is, does the dude have it inside? Not like what we all think about it. Teddy Bridgewater was a late first-round pick. He was considered a franchise quarterback, potentially. He did well as a game manager early in his career, and he was trending up slowly. The question was, could he handle more responsibility in the offense? Then he got hurt. So we never got the answer to the question. Then he looked like a real nice backup, looked good, and anytime we saw him in the preseason or anything like that. And now with a good team, we see what he can do. I think Bridgewater, as many game managers do early in their career, is developing into something a little more than that. And I expect him to be the story when this game is over.
All right, Stephen A., Philly, where you spent 18 years, field goal underdog against Minnesota. This should be a good matchup. What do you think is going to be the narrative from this one?
I think the narrative from this one is going to be Kirk Cousins. He was taking a lot of heat coming in the last week, and then you beat the Giants. Well, we know how horrid a team the Giants are right now. They're bereft of talent. That was one thing.
We did all right in the first half. You had to be a little proud.
Whatever.
No one was even in the field.
The point is that now you're going up against the team again in the Philadelphia Eagles, led by Carson Wentz and the Eagles, who are fully capable of going on the road and taking you out, as Green Bay would attest to. You're going to have your work cut out for you if you're the Minnesota Vikings. Let's see how Kirk Cousins responds, especially since even though the Eagles are good, their secondary is still suspect. Kirk Cousins should be able to do some things with them. Let's see if he does.
Look, the thing I say about Kirk Cousins is he's an empty-calorie quarterback, right?
Okay.
If you need 8 yards, he'll get you 6. At the end of the game, he'll have nice numbers, but you'll lose by a field goal. His team will look okay, but they'll miss the playoffs. Carson Wentz, to me, though he hasn't led his team to a championship because he got hurt when Nick Foles did it, and again the following season, Nick Foles led him to the playoffs. Carson Wentz, to me, is the opposite of an empty-calorie quarterback. You know, he'll actually go out on a limb to make plays. Sometimes he needs to learn how to protect himself better. He's a genuine tough guy with genuine elite talent, and when he's in the game against a quarterback on the other side who doesn't have that, I think the story's Carson Wentz.
All right, this next game Stephen A. is going to be flying out for. They call it the Tank Bowl. It's going to be the Washington Redskins and the Miami Dolphins. I don't even think you're going to use Red Zone. You're just going to zoom in, right, and check this one out. What's going to be the story of this game, Smiley?
The story of the game, or the story of this game, is the NFL. Why should we be subjected to this kind of ineptitude on a Sunday afternoon? What the hell were they thinking? Listen, this is the National Football League, okay? This isn't the XFL. This isn't college. This isn't nobody looking to watch an NFL game on this Sunday afternoon should be subjected to that game. Nobody.
You know,
that's the problem.
That said, as someone who doesn't play fantasy football, if you play, you're 100% right. Forget about it. Don't watch it. Unless you're playing daily fantasy. And then all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's vested interest.
Yeah, man. These are not great defenses. You may have a couple players in the game. That'll be the storyline.
Max, let me ask you this. Struggling Rams are favorites at home, and they face those red-hot 49ers. This is going to be a really interesting one.
Even since the last time we discussed this, now they don't have their fullback available, the Niners.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what Shanahan's been using in terms of springing his run game. So you're missing your right tackle, you're missing your fullback, you're missing your left tackle. It's a lot on the road. I am going to stay with my original prediction, Stephen A., and say that the Niners' defense will carry the day because of Gurley's injury, but like by the skin of their teeth.
Another interesting one here. Cowboys are a touchdown favorite in New York facing the Jets. Sam Darnold will finally be back. What are you guys booing at? Cowboys? The Jets? Oh, I guess they're Cowboys fans, so they're booing at you, Stephen A. Now I get what's happening. What do you think's going to be the story of this game?
Well, to me, the story of this game is who are the odds makers that only have the Cowboys as a touchdown favorite. You don't know if Sam Darnold's going to be back because of mononucleosis, okay? They don't really have a number one receiver. Le'Veon Bell and everybody else. I mean, the Jets have been horrid. Adam Gase should have never been the head coach of the New York Jets. I mean, this is another meaningless situation. The story of this game is going to be how interesting does Dallas's lack of discipline make this game? If they're focused, it should be a blowout. If they're unfocused and take an opponent for granted, it'll be far more interesting than it does. And by the way, my condolences to my brother Jamal Adams. I'm so sad that he has to be subjected to this nonsense playing for the New York Jets. It's an atrocity.
Listen, they get Sam Darnold back. That's exciting. Max, finally, Clemson, a huge favorite. Clemson, a huge favorite over Florida State Saturday. 27 points.
Listen, the only reason I'll say you won't cover is because I think you'll win by like 3 touchdowns and a field goal. And the odds are saying 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals is a push. I mean, but it's going to be a lopsided affair.
I am at Clemson University. This is the home of the reigning, defending national champions, going up against a Florida State team that is decent, but not much better than that. You had damn well better make sure there's a lopsided contest. This better not be interesting. Handle your business, Clemson. You're supposed to blow them out tomorrow. Handle your business. Handle your business.
It's the one sport where it's not just if you win, it's how you win. They better look good.
You worried about Brady? Speaking of looking good.
I am. I'm concerned about the end of his career, Molly.
You're concerned. You're concerned about game managing.
The best defense and the best coach in the league. So
thank you all for showing up.